Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be continuing into part 2 of What If Bardock and King Vegeta Were Brothers. If you haven't seen part 1, there is a title card where you can go check it out and see what happened in the last part, but today we'll be going into Dragon Ball Z. What would the future of Goku be like when he reunites with his family? What have the Saiyans on planet Vegeta been up to? What potential threat will they face? If y'all are interested, I own a Discord server for anyone who wants to join and talk more about Dragon Ball with me and other viewers. Maybe give us some of your own ideas of what ifs, and maybe in the future, I could do them. Check the link in the description down below. For today's question of the video comes from What If Nidoking 2229. What's your favorite Dragon Ball Z movie? And my favorite would be the first Broly movie because before Dragon Ball Super, Broly was still my favorite Saiyan. Either if he's the Z version or the Super version, I just think he's cool. We don't talk about the third movie though. My favorite movie is the first Broly movie. He's just really cool as when he showed up to be a really cool villain. Maybe the ending to it wasn't so great with just everyone giving their power to Goku and he just somehow one punches him. But we don't talk about that. He's just a cool villain and he's just very scary. And I think he's really cool, especially with the whole Berserk Super Saiyan form that he has. Thank you for your question. If you want your comment to be featured in the next video, just comment down a question you would like for me to answer. If it's about Dragon Ball, another anime, or personal, maybe you'll be lucky enough for your comment to be featured in the next video. Without further ado, let's dive into part 2 of What If Bardock and King Vegeta Were Brothers. The start of Dragon Ball Z would play out a bit differently, with Grandpa Gohan joining Goku and Gohan as they all go to Kame's house, meeting up with Bulma, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu, and Master Roshi. This is also when Raditz would have shown up on Earth as normal, but it wouldn't just be Raditz, as it would be Raditz, Bardock, and Guinea this time around. But something was wrong, as Bardock and Raditz were heavily injured, barely alive, as Guinea tried her best to keep them from dying. After settling them down in a secure area, Guinea would put on a scouter as she would use the scouter to scan the power levels on the planet, which she was shocked to learn that the power levels she scanned are far higher than what was said about the planet, as she scanned 2 power levels hitting 7,500, as she thought it was her son, Kakarot. She told the other two that she will bring back Kakarot and maybe he can help them heal them back to full recovery. Now, let's take a few steps back and discuss what the Saiyans were up to the last few years while Goku was on Earth. They obviously continued on training intensely as Vegeta Sr., Vegeta, and Raditz all wanted to learn the Super Saiyan transformation. For the first few years, they weren't getting any luck tapping into the power, with Raditz and Vegeta being a bit young. However, Vegeta Sr. was getting close, but Bardock did manage to perfect the form after having it for around a decade. Remember, Saiyans aren't too used to training. Even if Bardock is a high-class Saiyan, they never really trained before, so he would have most likely perfected the form by having it for such a long time. Nothing too eventful happened on planet Vegeta during the first decade, as the main four really focused on training. Bardock did change the Saiyan ways as they no longer conquered planets. They did focus on liberating the planets that Frieza had taken over to bring back peace in the universe, and to wipe out all traces of Frieza's army that were left over. In the start of the second decade, however, Bardock was told by some Saiyans exploring the universe that they came across a faraway planet that had 2 stranded Saiyans. Vegeta Sr. overheard this and warned Bardock, as he knew who this was, explaining how he kicked out 2 Saiyans from their planet, Paragus and Broly, for the reason that his son Broly had uncontrollable power. Bardock grew upset at his brother for making such a harsh decision to a father and his son, as he allowed them to come back to planet Vegeta. Once arriving back on planet, Bardock would try to apologize to Paragus for his brother's actions, but that did not satisfy Paragus. And here, since Bardock is now related to Vegeta Sr., Paragus' hatred doesn't just remain to the former king and his son, but also to Bardock and his family. For the time being, Paragus played along as he had a plan to get his revenge on the royal family. So for years, the 4 Saiyans would continue training as Paragus would spy on them and see how much they've grown. And it's shocked to see that Bardock is the legendary Super Saiyan, but he doesn't let that stop him from his plan. During the decade on Vampa, he did see how much potential Broly had that even the former king was scared of, and he believed that Broly alone could kill the royal family. He spent some time working on a device to control Broly, if he ever lost control, but he only planned to use it after Broly killed the entire royal family. More years would pass on, as it would be around 2 years before the start of Dragon Ball Z, as Paragus would begin his plan to wipe out the royal family and destroy planet Vegeta, using the collar device to hurt Broly and make him lose control, as Broly would begin to cause destruction all over planet Vegeta. This would catch the attention of Bardock, Vegeta Sr., Vegeta, and Raditz, as they would all head out to see what was going on. And to discuss power levels, here's where they all stand. Bardock at 10 million in base, meaning 500 million in Super Saiyan, Vegeta Sr. at 8 million, and Vegeta and Raditz both at 5 million. They all arrive to see that it is Broly that is causing all the destruction on the planet. In the short time, Broly has already caused mass destruction on cities and have killed many Saiyans. Bardock was stunned in seeing what was happening as he heard his brother yelling at him, telling him how he shouldn't have brought them back. Broly, spotting them, he rushes over to them as Raditz and Vegeta attacked Broly together. Training together for years, they formed a pretty good team, having combo moves and experience fighting together. It did not last long, however, as Broly was growing in power and pretty fast, as it didn't take long to surpass the two in power, as then Vegeta Sr. and Bardock joined in. Bardock didn't want to go Super Saiyan right away as he wanted to try to talk down Broly, but he would quickly see that it wouldn't work, and transform into his Super Saiyan form as he vastly surpassed Broly in power. Still not trying to kill Broly, as he just reminded him of his own sons, as they are around the same age. In the middle of the fight, he gets another vision. He sees Earth, the planet Kakarot currently is living in. But the next second, he sees it explode, as he then gets back into reality as Broly would grab Bardock's face, slamming him into the ground, and begin to beat down on him. The others would try to jump in, but it would prove useless as they weren't doing anything to him. Vegeta Sr. begins to grow angry at the fact that he was right and how there's a Saiyan stronger than him that isn't royalty. His ego began to take huge hits, as he begins to break down on the ground yelling in anger. This anger helped him in finally achieving the Super Saiyan power he has been training for. Now together with both Bardock and Vegeta Sr., together they fight Broly. For now, they are barely holding him off. Knowing they don't stand a chance at winning, they demanded their sons to flee, but they refused to as they continued on fighting with their fathers. But they wouldn't last too long in the battlefield as they soon would end up being knocked out and pretty beaten up. The fight was getting intense as Broly was exploding in excess power as a key attack hit the core of the planet, and soon the planet would explode. This caused chaos on the planet as the Saiyans began to flee and getting on space pods leaving the planet. Gine would see what is going on as she would see her son beaten, as she would grab him and put him into a space pod, sending it into a nearby planet, but she waited on the planet, not wanting to leave without Bardock. Back to the fight, the brothers charged and attacked with all their power. They got left, shooting it right at Broly, sending him crashing down deep into the ground of the planet. They would power down, passing out due to exhaustion and injury, as Gine would arrive grabbing a hold of Bardock as she tries to rush over to the pods she had saved for them. It took a bit since Bardock was pretty heavy as she would send Bardock to the same planet as Raditz, but she would look back thinking about Vegeta Sr. and his son, but she didn't have any more time to grab them as she apologizes, getting into her space pod and following her husband and son alone, believing she left the other half of her family to die. Luckily for Vegeta Sr. and his son, they were saved by Nappa, as he did the same that Gine did, sending all three of them to another planet. The last thing that both Gine and Nappa saw of their planet was a huge green explosion as planet Vegeta was destroyed, not by Frieza, but by a fellow Saiyan. Gine would arrive on the planet trying to take care of what is left of her family, but it was not looking good, as they were really beaten and non-conscious. She tried her best with what she had trying to fix them up, but she had no clue where to go. But then, that is when she remembers about Kakarot, thinking Earth would be a safe planet to head to and to reunite with her youngest son. After fixing up Raditz and Bardock to the best of her ability, they would head over to planet Earth. It would take some time as the distance was far and Gine would take some stops to check up on her son and husband. Back to present day, she would arrive at Kame house. Gine would see her son, instantly recognizing him as he looked just like Bardock. She would run over hugging Goku, crying out with how much she missed her son. Everyone was quite confused. Gine would explain everything to Goku with how he was sent here to be saved, and how he is an alien from another planet, and how she was his mother. Grandpa Gohan believed her right away, seeing how they both had tails. Here, Goku does still have his tail as he was able to control the Great Ape form. Gine would see young Gohan, realizing that her son has his own family and has his own son. Gine would try to introduce herself to her grandson, but Gohan was a little scared to move. She quickly hopped back on her mission as she asked Goku for help, as she explained what had happened to them and their home planet and how his father and brother needed help urgently, needing medical attention. Goku decided to go, leaving Gohan with his grandpa. The other Z fighters asked if he wanted backup, but Goku said it was fine as he believed he could handle it. But he doesn't really know how strong his father and brother are since they are nowhere near full recovery. Goku and Gine would head over to where Raditz and Bardock were left, as when Goku saw his father, his memory clicked, seeing both his father and his mother when they sent him away. He told Gine he can help them as he would quickly fly over to Korin's tower asking for 2 senzu beans, and when he returned, he would give each one a senzu bean, helping them to recover. This instantly brought them back to full health, to the shock of all 3 of them. When they woke up, Gine broke the news to them about what had happened to their home. Both Bardock and Raditz were saddened by the destruction of planet Vegeta, and hearing the death of Vegeta Sr. and his son, as they were all family. Gine began to break down as she said that she had left them. By the time she saved Bardock, the planet was about to explode and she just left, but Bardock didn't hold it against her as she did save them from exploding with the planet. Goku would introduce himself as Bardock was shocked to see his other son after years. Both Bardock and Raditz were happy to see Goku, and now knowing that they were on Earth. Goku would invite them all to meet his family as they would all gladly take it. This is also when Goku would sense how powerful they really are, too, since Bardock and Raditz gained a huge Zenkai boost, pushing Bardock to 13 million and Raditz to 8 million. Returning to Kame's house to get back Grandpa Gohan and his son, as the rest of the Z fighters are shocked to meet Goku's alien family and sensing how powerful Bardock and Raditz are. Bulma does think Raditz to be really cute as well. Arriving back home, Chi-Chi does have a lot to take in, learning all of this about her husband and meeting his family, but gladly would take them in. Bardock, Raditz, and Gine are all interested about Gohan, as of course he is their newest family member, and a hybrid too. Goku's parents were also thanking Grandpa Gohan for taking him in and taking care of their son when he was sent off to this planet. Now with the Sun family all together, they would take this time of peace to reconnect and learn everything with what Goku has done, and Goku learning of his Saiyan race. We now move over to Vegeta Sr. and Co. as they all arrive to the planet nearby, which was a former Frieza planet. So it still had healing pods as Nappa placed both Vegetas in there to begin their healing process. Some other Saiyan stragglers headed to this planet as they asked Nappa what was their next move, as he just told them that they would have to wait till Vegeta Sr. wakes up, as he is now once again king of their race, as he told the others about the death of Bardock and his family. Obviously, Nappa also doesn't know that they are alive and well. Some time would go by as both Vegetas would recover and get brought up to speed what had happened to their planet. Also, for power level's sake, King Vegeta sits at a power level of 11 million in base, meaning a power level of 550 million with Super Saiyan, and Vegeta would sit at a power level of 8 million just like Raditz with their Zenkais. Vegeta Sr., now King Vegeta, once again is very upset with what had happened to his planet, as he told his brother not to bring them back, but then he would realize that his brother is now gone, and his anger dissipated. Not completely, but with him gone, he felt an absent in his spirit, similar to how Vegeta took Goku's death after the Cell games. Same with Vegeta realizing that his rival Raditz is also dead. King Vegeta's plan is to recuperate and bring any remaining Saiyans back together. Even with the planet being destroyed, he doesn't think Broly would have been killed that easily. They would make their current planet their new home, and King Vegeta and his son would focus on training up the other Saiyans and to teach them the Super Saiyan transformation, as their plan was to prepare themselves for the potential future threat of Broly if he is still alive and finds them once again. They would also get a surprise visit from the Galactic Patrol to check in on the Saiyans and to see what had happened, as King Vegeta would tell them everything, and mainly talking about Broly. Jocko would actually confirm King Vegeta's suspicions that Broly did manage to survive the explosion, surrounding himself in a key orb protecting him from being out in space, as they did pick up the massive energy signature, and currently Broly is causing more destruction out in the universe, as he is out of control and no one is strong enough to stop him. To Broly, he is out of control as he destroys any planets he come across. He is full of rage as when he did survive the explosion of the planet, he did see the dead body of his father, as this made him lose full control of himself. No matter what planet he came across, he blew it up without any problem, as he did not come across anyone as powerful as he was, being let loose out in the universe. Back on Earth, things were actually very peaceful for some years without any real threats. Gohan actually started training with Chi-Chi, allowing it as most of their family is trained fighters. Goku, Gohan, and most of the Z fighters saw immense growth. It took some time, but Raditz would achieve the Super Saiyan form early on, and Goku was actually quickly able to learn the Super Saiyan transformation for himself as well. Without any threats on Earth, the next 4 years would pass as Goku and Chi-Chi would have Goten a lot earlier on, and Raditz and Bulma would actually get together and have Trunks, but this time around Goten being the older of the two. Currently, we are on the set time where we will have a future time traveler appear on Earth. But before that, let's discuss power levels. With 4 years of training, everyone would get really strong without any interruptions, and even Bulma would get the idea to create the gravity room with the help of Bardock and Raditz, giving her the idea. Now with that, Bardock would be at a power level of 20 million at base, giving him a 1 billion in Super Saiyan. With having perfected the Super Saiyan transformation, he felt something above that, but hasn't quite tapped into it. Raditz would be second, sitting at 15 million at base, and finally reaching the Super Saiyan state, putting his power level at 750 million. Goku would be at a power level of 5 million, as he did have a lot to catch up on, but with the power of Super Saiyan, his power level would reach up to 250 million. And once he obtained Super Saiyan, he focused more on trying to perfect the form rather than training in his base. Surprisingly, next would be Kami. He took advantage of all the strong fighters around him to really grow as strong as he possibly could, wanting to really fill the role of Guardian of Earth, sitting at a power level of 10 million, as he may have told Bardock about the time chamber and took some more time training with him, but he was starting to feel his power begin to remain the same, as he saw the same happen to the humans and needed to think of a way to grow stronger. Gohan, now being around the age of 9, with his immense potential, he would reach up to a power level of 3 million, as he wasn't too focused on training compared to everyone else, but his potential did give him that extra boost when he did train. The humans all stood at a power level of 2 million and began to struggle with keeping up with everyone else, as they didn't really have a power to help them boost to go stronger. Goten and Trunks would still be too young to train, as at this point Goten is 4 years old and Trunks is 3. Also, this might be the last time I talk about power levels, as after this point in the story the numbers would get too high for me to actually calculate them correctly. When the time traveler arrives, everyone can sense his huge power level, as it even surpasses that of Bardock. But really, everyone can sense how familiar that key is, as everyone would head over to that location. Once they all arrived to see who it was, they were all shocked to see that the person who just showed up was none other than Bardock. But he looked much older and battle-worn than the present one. Bardock was lost for words, seeing the older version of himself. Future Bardock walked up to Goku and Raditz as he hugged them, apologizing, as he would also give Goku a medicine for the heart virus that he would eventually get in the future. Bardock also began to tell the story of what had happened to them in the future. Goku would end up catching the heart virus and dying. Bardock, Gine, and Raditz were all heartbroken, losing their long lost family member after just finding him for a few years. They continued on living peaceful lives for a good while, until one day a huge explosion erupted as Broly ended up arriving on Earth, causing destruction. The Z fighters all tried to fight against him, but he was far too powerful, as he had years of just growing stronger and stronger that no matter what they threw at him, it did not faze him. Many of them died, leaving only Bardock and the hybrid Saiyans left to go fight him off. Kami died, managing to seal Broly with the containment wave, but he wasn't going to be sealed forever, as with how strong Broly is, eventually he would break out of the containment wave. So on a clock, Bulma would spend years making a time machine to go back in time to prevent this from happening. Future Bardock would have tried to train to grow stronger than Broly, but he didn't believe that he could grow as strong as him. Future Bardock even said that Broly was like a god. Eventually the time machine was done and Future Bardock would travel back in time. After telling them the future of what would happen, he would leave, but not after telling his present self that his brother is still alive. And that's where we're going to leave it off for now. Tell me how y'all think about the second part and how I did with the start of Dragon Ball Z in this What If. What fully went down in the future? How will Bardock and King Vegeta reunite? How will they make their plan to stop Broly and the mass chaos he is causing in the universe? Also, if y'all would like for me to go fully through the future timeline, let me know down in the comments. What could have happened differently? Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. I would love to hear them. If y'all are interested and enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted whenever I post another part. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next part. See ya.